Harbert. Unfortunately, Jody had some conflicts and couldn't be here, and he asked me to step in and fill in for the chair position. My name is Jeff Hayes. I will do a roll call. Jody Harbert, Gary Bonewall, John Creech,
Here.
Robert Gonzalez, Robert Nappage,
Yes, sir.
Greg LeMay,
Here.
Lori DeFavors, Oscar Salazar,
Right here.
Lance Villers,
Here.
Kelly Weller. Looks like we have enough for a quorum, so we'll go ahead and begin the meeting. First item on our agenda is revision of the DSHS EMS Education Rule, Title 25 of the Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 157, Section 157.32, and the DSHS EMS Education and Training Manual. In our July work session, we discussed this, and it came to our attention that we are requested to recommend to GTAC that we remove the Education and Training Manual from rule, which in actuality should be done because it actually violates the rule to have a manual in the rule. So we have been in violation of 157.32 for as many years as I can remember, and I've been around EMS education for about 25 years. So it was discussed, and we agree that we will obviously come into compliance with the rule, and we will also, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys that were there, our intent is to not revise the training and education manual as it stands there, and just put together advisories and assistance for those organizations that need assistance in their education programs. Eddie, does that pretty much sum up what you remember?
Yes, it is.
So, with that said, do I entertain a motion?
I would move that we remove that.
Motion by Robert Nappage,
Second.
second by Oscar Salazar. Any discussion? Public discussion? Joe, do you have any comment from DSHS?
Yes, sir. You summarized it
Okay.
correctly.
Any discussion from the committee? No discussion. All those in favor, sign of aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passes. Number 2 is report on the Governor Emergency Trauma Advisory Committee's Trauma Systems Committee Registry Work Group. John Creech is our representative on that group and will give us a brief report.
Oh, yeah, they put out a little bulletin and RAC-D Trauma Registry pilot project in conjunction with Regional Advisory Council D and the District Trauma Registry and Office of EMS Trauma Systems have undertaken a pilot project aimed at identifying, defining, and providing solutions to trauma registry reporting problems as reported from the stakeholders. It's initiated on June 13th. Project commenced with a RAC-D stakeholder problem identification survey. July 17th, DISH OHMS personnel presented the findings of the survey to stakeholders and RAC-D. Trauma registry personnel were also on hand to answer system questions and solicit feedback from RAC-D. Over the next 45 to 60 days, the trauma registry personnel will return to RAC-D and work one-on-one with stakeholders to offer solutions to reporting problems. In fall of 2013, at least one other stakeholder meeting will be held to review and respond to problems with reporting, identifying local registry experts willing to offer support throughout RAC-D. And then in the late fall 2013, upon pilot project completion, pilot findings will be available to all RACs and GTAC stakeholders.
Okay, thanks, John. Can I have that copy
Yes,
for the
sir.
record? Thank you. Committee, any comments? Public, any comments? Hearing none, we'll move forward. Number 3, review and provide input on proposed revisions for Continuing Education Coordinating Board for Emergency Medical Services, also known as CSBEAMS. I brought this up a little. I don't know how this arrived on the agenda. I think DSHS, I believe, was requested for us to look at this. I actually brought it up in our work session about the confusing nature of what CSBEAMS put out, and it is out of context, and if you don't go back and read all the CSBEAMS documentation on their website, you have a tendency to not understand what they're trying to make changes to. So it is our stance from the Education Committee is that if you have any input, that you can either funnel it through our committee or go directly to CSBEAMS. While I would encourage you to go directly to CSBEAMS with any input on the changes. It is about a 2-page document with about, appears to be about 20 to 22 different bullets that addresses that. As we know, DSHS accepts CSBEAMS credit for approved CE, but is not fully a CSBEAMS state. Committee, any comments or questions from the public? Comment or question, or DSHS? Okay, hearing none, I'll open the floor for general public comment. For anybody in the public has a comment related to educational issues or things related to our committee. When you come up, please state your name and your location for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Justin Boyd. I'm currently sit on the EMS committee. I also am the TSA Panhandle RAC's chair, and we started seeing some changes in our RAC, and we sent out a survey. And let me tell you a little bit about our RAC so you understand what I'm talking about. When we talk about education, we currently have 49 ground EMS providers in the Texas Panhandle, and we started seeing a shortage of paramedics. So we surveyed all of our agencies, and out of those 49 services, we found out that 19 of those services currently have on staff less than 5 paramedics. So we took it one step further and we said, you know, how many of the 49 don't have a paramedic? We ended up with 8. So 27 of our 49 currently have less than 5 paramedics on staff. We went and accessed the National Registry past statistics and looked at how many paramedics had graduated and been certified in the last 2 years. And in 2011, we had 3 programs that produced 21 paramedics. In 2012, we had 3 programs that produced 21 paramedics. What I can't tell you right now, we're so close to Oklahoma, and Oklahoma not having a paramedic program, that we don't know how many of those students that we actually were trained in Texas are going to Oklahoma. But we do know, because of the changes that are put forth, that we're no longer going to have 3 programs. We're just going to have 1. And it's going to be located in Amarillo. And because of the changes, we anticipate in visiting with them, there won't be any paramedics produced in 2013. Okay, so to give you a little more insight about the Panhandle RAC and where we're at, the highest acute care facility we have is a level 3. The average transport in miles, ground-wise, into the level 3 is 82 miles. The longest being 117. Our closest level 1 facility is actually in Texas, is actually located in Lubbock. That average ground transport for our facilities up there is 177 miles, with the longest being 241. What we don't know, and what I'm coming to you to ask, and I want to know if this is an anomaly. Is this just happening in our region? I've spoken with the chair of RAC-K, and we've gathered a little bit of data from his RAC, and the numbers are very, very similar. Okay, he sees a decrease. He sees the need for paramedics. We're currently advertising for people who are contacting our RAC. We've got between 14 and 15 agencies that are looking for paramedics, and that's them coming through our RAC. I haven't had the opportunity to go out and look at any boards or private newspapers or publications or anything else. So what I'm asking is this is going to be presented tomorrow for the EMS committee, and I hope to take it to the medical directors committee as well. And if there's time tonight at the RAC chairs to ask, is this something that we can look at? I want to see if it's not just something that's related specifically to my region. Is it happening all over the state? Is it just happening in the rural parts? Because we do see a decrease in the educational opportunities. And we see that the number of our paramedics is dropping, and we have 26 counties. In my region, and 21 paramedics doesn't go very far. So I come to you guys to ask. As I said, I'm gonna hit it up with the EMS committee. I'm gonna hit it up with the medical directors committees. I'm gonna try to get in with the RAC chair committee and see if we can start looking and seeing if this is just something that's specifically related to us, or is this actually happening all over the state?
Okay. So, just so here it is, two issues. One, shortage of paramedics in your RAC, and then other is a shortage of actual education programs to produce paramedics in your RAC.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Dudley caught me at lunch and we talked a little bit about this. Would you entertain the opportunity of maybe putting a task force together from members from our committee, medical directors committee, and the EMS committee to look at this?
I think that'd be a great idea.
Okay.
I really do.
Sure.
We could have representatives from everybody. We can all come look at this, and let's look at it and see if it's actually happening. I
Okay.
think that's a great idea.
Well, since it's not on our agenda, obviously we can't act on that, but we can take it to our next meeting, which is in November, and then we can ask for it to be on the agenda to discuss. I'm sure Dudley's group will do the same. I hope the medical directors will do the same, and we may even want to pull in some RAC chairs as well. And in our meeting in November, we can act to put together this task force to look at that, maybe. Okay, thanks, Justin.
I appreciate it very much.
You bet. Dudley?
Dudley Wade, City of Schertz. I'm not real clear on how open meetings affect here, but I think if it would be beneficial for us, we have to do a couple of things. One is, under the new GTAC procedures, we have to make sure that they're okay with us, even our committees, discussing this on it as an agenda item. But I think there's consensus of your group. We're going to try to get consensus tomorrow from our group to go to GTAC and see if they will at least, instead of waiting until November to see if we can form a task force, if we have the consensus, maybe they can go ahead and just take that action anyway and say, you know what, why don't those three committees work on getting a group together to look at this after we get the surveys completed for the rest of the RAC. So
Okay.
that may be something you want to see if you can do. I don't know about the voting and all that. That confuses me as well. But if everybody's in agreement, that helps the position Friday morning when we talk to GPAC.
Okay, thanks. Any other public comment? Group, do you agree or disagree of the possibility of looking at this? Not as a vote, just in general.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, can we still pass a motion?
No, we can't because it's not on the agenda, so it can't be addressed. What we can do is, since I'm not the chair of the committee, actually Jody is, I will visit with Jody in the next day or two to tell him, Justin and Dudley, we've talked about this, and also we'll talk with Chief Riley and see what his and the actual GTAC committee's thoughts are on this as well, and then we'll take it from there. Any other public comment? Any issues? I'm going to beat Jody's record. So in summary for us, for report to GTAC meeting on Friday morning will be to discuss removing the education and training manual from Rule 157.32, a summary of the Trauma System Committee Registry Work Group. I don't know that we'll actually have to do that since the GTAC has a representative on that committee as well. And then summarize the input on proposed revisions to the C-SBEAMS changes, and then our public comment that Justin and Dudley approached us about the task force. Is that pretty much it, Greg?
Yep, that's what I got.
One last call, public comment.
I'm impressed. I think this is the shortest.
I'm telling you, Jane, I'm telling you, I'm going to rub this in Jody's face, too. Entertain a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to stay.
Good job.
Oh, before, anybody, Joe, do you have anything before we close?
I do not, sir.
Okay. First, motion by Creech, seconded by Nappage. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Breaking glasses.